What is going on, everybody? It's been a couple of weeks. Welcome back. It is Monday night. I, of course, am Edward Rouse. You can find me at Edward Rouse on Twitter. We've had so much go on over the last couple of weeks. Last we were on, we did our MLB preview show. We are now 3 weeks into the MLB season. And what a season it's been so far. If you had the standings after a couple weeks where they are now, you probably made a lot of money gambling. More on that later. But yeah, got the Padres in first place. You got the Tampa Bay Rays in first place. You got a three-headed monster in Atlanta, the Mets, and Philadelphia. The Nationals not included. Sorry, Anthony. You have the Seattle Mariners, who seem to just hit home runs every game. And a great MLB season so far. It's been a joy to watch. You have NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup. That's right, the Stanley Cup. The biggest trophy in all of sports. Well, literally, not figuratively. You got some upsets in the works there. It's been exciting as well. You got the NBA playoffs, which, the first round of the NBA playoffs is about as you would think it would be. And so far, it's kind of playing out to those. More on that later. But thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight and every Monday night that we have a show on Monday Night Rants. It is with great honor that I tell you that I have a few weeks left until the little one is born. She's going to be here any day. And I couldn't be more excited. I've never built more things in a span of 3 weeks in my life. Rockaroos, something roos, another roo, this roo, that roo. Everything has a roo. Everything has a box. Everything's packaged. And everything needs something in it to work. And I have like more boxes than I could ever even imagine having boxes. I'm like a homeless man's dream in my garage because I can't fit them all in my trash can. And every little thing that you get for a baby is in a giant box. All of them. Even the smallest things. You got the crib, of course. That's the big one. Then you got to have the rocker, the rocking chair, the dresser, the rockaroo, like I mentioned. Then you got to have the pack and play. And then you have to have the baby Bjorn. And then you have to have the high chair. And then you got to have like all these little toys that they could sit in and do things with. And by the time it's all said and done, 20 boxes later, you can build a fort. But I'm so excited. I am so excited. Ugh. Just a few weeks away. But I promise I'll still be here for you guys on Mondays. And more on other stuff we're doing later. This year is going to be, I'm really excited for this year already. I know we're already in April, but I'm really excited. But some big news over the weekend. The biggest thing that happened, and the question that everybody wanted to know, and the question that everybody has been asking for the last 24 hours. The most exciting thing to happen in the last 24 hours is indeed, what is this man doing? And why is nobody helping him out? Literally. Can they build some ramps at Winterfell? Can you put some snow tires on this wheelchair? Because this poor guy is just sitting there. No one's helping him out. And he's just staring everyone down like they're trying to hook up with his sister. Of course, I'm talking about Bronn Stark, yes. The question everyone's been asking. How does this guy get around in the snow in Winterfell in his wheelchair? He's like the Professor X of Westeros. He kind of is. He can read minds, apparently, see things before they happen. He's rolling around this snow in a wheelchair. No one's helping him. Don't know how he's doing it. And staring people down, like I said. And that's the question everyone's been asking. And the question I've been asking, too. Of course, Game of Thrones was last night. The huge premiere. And everyone's been talking about it all day. Was it a good episode? Was it a bad episode? It literally mirrored the first episode ever of Game of Thrones, Season 1, Episode 1. And I enjoyed it. It was a good setup episode for what's going to be the last season. But I must say, they need to build some ramps for this poor guy because I don't know how he's getting around in his chair. And it's a little irritating to me. And yes, they need to put snow tires on that thing because it's snowing. Hodor's gone. He's sadly. Who's pushing this guy around? How is he getting around Winterfell? I guess he's not. He's just sitting there in one spot staring everyone down. I love it, though. Huge Game of Thrones fan. I'm excited for this season. But really, though, the big story over the weekend, of course, was... Yes. Tiger Woods. Now, the average person at this juncture of the show, or what I've heard all morning on every other show, Tiger Woods is back. He's back. Yes, he won the Masters. Yes, he hasn't won the Masters since 2005. It's been 11 years since he's won a major tournament. But is he back because he won the Masters? Does that make him a favorite to win the other majors or any other tournament this year? I'm going to say no. Unpopular opinion. But let's be real. Yes, he won the Masters, and it was beautiful, and I enjoyed every second of it, except for not knowing that it was early, because I was watching the Liverpool-Chelsea game, which said, you know what, I'm going to start the Masters. They should be starting the final rounds by now. Turn it over. It's already the 16th hole, like 11 o'clock. I'm like, oh, shoot. Which kind of made it okay, because I watched the end of it, and I got a little emotional, just like everyone else. That it's, he did have a lot go on in his life, but most of the stuff that went on in his life wasn't because he couldn't help it. It's because he did it to himself, if you really think about it. Another unpopular opinion. Oh, the guy was a sex addict. He cheated on his wife. He didn't have to cheat on his wife. Oh, but he's a sex addict. So let's put that out there real quick. So yeah, he did have hard times and everything, and some injuries and all the stuff that happened. He got pulled over by the cops and the DUI for having the Ambien in his system and all this, all stuff that he could have not done himself. This isn't like, oh, he got cancer or so on. This is completely things that he did to himself. So let's put that there. Another unpopular opinion. Oh, Edward hates Tiger Woods. I don't hate Tiger Woods. I'm just saying, if none of the stuff happened to him that happened to him, would we all be like, oh, what a day. What a day. Tiger Woods, oh, a redemption song. Redemption for what? If Kareem Hunt wins the MVP in the Super Bowl next year, is everyone going to be like, oh, what a great redemption? No. Let's not forget that everything that Tiger Woods really did was to himself and not from anyone else. So that's all I'm saying. I like the guy. It's Tiger Woods. He's one of the greatest golfers ever. But let's not get all crazy here. Yes, it's a great redemption. But if none of the stuff that he did to himself happened, would it be as emotional and as big as a story as it has been? No. It wouldn't at all. So congratulations, Tiger, and good luck. Because I don't know if you'll win another one, but everyone thinks this now Vegas loves it. because everyone's going to, on the Players' Championship and the PGA Championship, everyone's going to put their money on Tiger, and they're going to make a lot of money because of it. So congratulations, Tiger, on that. Speaking of failures, just kidding, the Boston Red Sox. Wow. Even on Patriot Day this morning, to what was supposed to be the worst team in baseball. 1, 2, 3, 4, top of the lineup, not hitting. Mookie Betts, more like Poopy Betts. He's been terrible. The pitching has been terrible. Rick Porcello, he's either going to get waived or we'll see him in AAA. He's been that bad. Chris Sale, I picked him as my preseason favorite to win the Cy Young Award. Not even close. Blake Snell's a runaway already. The team just looks bad. You take away Mitch Moreland from the team right now, the team hasn't won a game. Honest. Defending champions. So not only is their bullpen terrible, which we all knew it would be, they're not even hitting and putting the runs on the board to help the bullpen out. It's a problem. It is a problem. Now, do I think eventually they're going to hit? Do I think eventually they're going to be fine? Yes. I think they'll be okay after some time. But how long? How long in a division with the Rays, who are playing out of their mind, which, by the way, 90 wins last year, too. Let's not forget that. And I'm pretty sure if there was another month to the season, they would have made the playoffs, too. The Rays know how to put good teams on the field in the stadium and in a place where no one wants to watch them. If this continues for May and the Red Sox have to play keep up in that division, any other division, I'd be like, oh, they're fine. Not in that one. If this happens for another month and Betts isn't hitting, now you got Benintendi who's hurt. Sale hasn't found his form. Price hasn't found his form. Rick Porcello needs to stop playing baseball. They don't have a closer. They don't have a bullpen. If this happens for another month and they're chasing, Red Sox fans, you got something to look out for. It's going to be a rough second half of the season. That's all I got to say in that division. Because the Yankees are only going to get healthy. And if they're healthy, they're hitting. They're just not healthy. The Red Sox are healthy and not hitting. That's the difference. And also, the Yankees have a bullpen. The Rays have apparently the best pitching staff in baseball. Who would have thought? I could probably go on the street and say, name 5 players on the Rays team, and nobody who I'd asked would be able to name 5. Unless they're a fancy baseball player, then maybe they would. Red Sox fans, you better hope you start hitting soon, or the season could be a wash. Speaking of seasons being a wash, the NHL playoffs, the Stanley Cup playoffs, are in full form. And nobody's talking about the biggest story of the whole thing. I'm talking Golden State Warriors beating the Dallas Mavericks an 8-1 seed. The first time in NBA history. The same type of story is going down right now in the NHL and no one's talking about it. The Columbus Blue Jackets are absolutely annihilating. Demolition. Rolling through them, making them look like pansies. The Tampa Bay Lightning. That's right. The best record in all of hockey, the number 1 team in all of hockey, is getting embarrassed by the Columbus Blue Jackets. This is not a AAA team, although they sound like a AAA team. Columbus Blue Jackets. Yes, that does really sound like a AAA team. Are they going to sweep the best team in hockey. Has that been done? I don't know. I didn't have time to look it up today. But it's a story we should be talking about. Yes, it's been a crazy weekend. Game of Thrones premiered. But this is as big as when the Golden State Warriors beat the Dallas Mavericks in 8-1. This is not just that. This is the best team in hockey all year. And they're getting embarrassed. It's not, oh, they won in overtime twice. They're getting embarrassed. They're losing fights. They're losing the best goalie in hockey, by the way, too, is getting scored on. This is something that people should be talking about. Although, I guess, when the best hockey team's in Tampa Bay, I don't know how many people are going to hockey games. You know, is Tampa Bay, you got the first place Rays, you got the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a lot of good product there in sports in Tampa Bay, except for the books. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? But, you know, this is a big story. Columbus. So tomorrow, let's root for the Columbus, everybody. Let's go. I want to hear the sweep. I want the sweep. Yep. DMX wants it too. Go Columbus. Why not? It's a good story. We want to see it happen. NBA playoffs in full form right now. I myself did a bracket. If you check out my Twitter, it's at Edward Rouse. You can see my bracket. I have the Golden State Warriors beating the Philadelphia 76ers in the finals. Oh, but Edward, the 76ers looked terrible the first game against... Yeah, did you see what they did tonight? Yeah. You're welcome. They'll be fine. They're the best team in the East. Because when it comes to playoffs, bench out the window. It's the best team versus the best team. Philadelphia 76ers have the best team in a 7-game series of any team. Oh, but the Bucks, they look so good. Oh, yeah, but they're playing the 8th seed in the East. I want to watch that Bucks. I want to watch the Bucks versus 76ers series over whoever the Golden State plays whenever they play. Because no one cares anymore. I hate to say it, unless you're a Golden State fan, no one cares about Golden State. The same thing happens to the Patriots now. Same thing. Unless you're a Patriots fan, nobody wants you to win. Everyone hates you. Basketball has the same problem. No one wants the Golden State Warriors to win. Everyone hates them. No one wants to watch their games. They don't care. Patriots, Golden State, same thing. Yeah, I'm a Clippers fan. Does that mean I thought the Clippers could win the series? No. I did give them a game in my bracket, though. I think they could pull one game off. And wagering-wise, I thought, you know what? The spread is so big. They could play hard and get within 13, especially since the Warriors have no bench. So if they get up by 20 in the fourth quarter and the bench comes in, maybe the Clippers have a chance to cut it within 13. 25 right now. With 5 minutes left in the third. So looks like that wager is off. So, but anyways, playoffs are there. Yeah, I have my bracket. I had Golden State winning just because I like to win my brackets, and it's common sense. Speaking of that, I did win the NCAA tournament bracket. Everyone who joined, thank you. I said I would give $50 to anyone who could beat me. None of you beat me. I get to keep my $50 and rub it all on your face. So here's a big middle finger to you. You all lost. Okay. Next week on the show, of course, next week is the NFL draft. And we all love the NFL draft. It's fun. I will not be partaking in the first round of the NFL draft because I have tickets to see Endgame Avengers opening night. So I will be doing that. But I'll record it. And when I get home later or early on or Friday morning, I will be watching it and doing all that as well. Of course, I'm going to have my complete, like I did last year, my complete first round pick by pick who I think where they're going with analysis for each one. And, of course, we're going to have some other people like Josh and Anthony and some others able to put their foot forward with their picks as well. We'll see if we match up or if we disagree, and we'll talk about it. Next week is going to be completely almost 90% NFL draft coverage on Monday. So make sure you check that out. Before we go any further, because we're going to talk about the next half of the show. So the first half is the headlines. That's all the headlines, really. Tiger, Game of Thrones, the Red Sox sucking balls, the Blue Jackets beating the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is exciting, right? The NBA playoffs, which has just started, which is cool. I don't want to talk about Magic Johnson. We all saw that coming. Luke Walton. Now he's going to Sacramento. I mean, Sacramento was the 9th seed. They could have made the playoffs this year. Now they're going to hire Luke Walton. They're going to go down. They're not going to go up with Luke Walton. They're going to go down. That's his track record. So there's that too. But real quick though, hey. Oh man, do you guys love fantasy baseball? Because I love fantasy baseball. Well, let me tell you what. FantasyAlarm.com. If you go to FantasyAlarm.com/MLB season, you get a full season coverage of fantasy sports to help you win in both DFS and seasonal leagues. And guess what? Be 100K greener, because you know why? Fantasy Alarm, that's right, FantasyAlarm.com is responsible for over dozens of 10K to 100K winners every year. Oh, a $200 package? Nah. Just $75 right now. If you go to FantasyAlarm.com/MLB season, we're talking playbooks, all the players you need to play in your lineups. We're talking example lineups so you can match yours against them. Lineup generators. And you could even talk to a professional 7 days a week with the live chat. And for your seasonal players, guess what? League Sync. Sync your leagues with all the tools that Fantasy Alarm have to offer and win your championship. Who to pick up on waivers. Who to play that day. It's all there with projections built in. Win, win, win. $75 for the whole season. You can make that back in just a few days of playing DFS with FantasyAlarm.com/MLB season. That's FantasyAlarm.com/MLB season. You know what? Tell them Edward Rouse sent ya. Just $75 for the full season. Dominate and make everyone your bitch. That is right. Oh, man. All right, we got a panel discussion we're going to talk about for a little bit. I may bring in some other stuff I've talked about with him too as well. But one thing that I've been doing and I've been trying this year, since the beginning of the year, is really getting my front foot. Getting my front foot and putting the pedal to the metal on the wagering of sports gambling, which is slowly becoming legal across our great land, the United States of America. And I've enjoyed it. And you know, I dabble in DFS as well, and I could see how the legalization of sports wagering or sports gambling, I like to call it wagering, over gambling, is a little bit easier to, not easier, but more fun in a way, or less hassle of a DFS lineup. Because when you're doing a FanDuel lineup, you got to do all this research on who to play, left versus right, right versus left. In baseball, for example, who's pitching, who's playing who here, who's doing what here. But when you're betting on a game, it's just simple as, do I think this team's going to win by a run and a half? 2 runs. I went, something like 41 and 29 or something in the NCAA tournament. And took all the money I won and I put it all on Virginia in the championship. Boom. Doubled my money at the end of that. I was stoked. I won a couple $100 for the whole tournament. Up. Spending on spreads. Not even worried about anything else. Justin Watson wants to know how the Clippers are doing. Well, Justin Watson, if you listened about 20 minutes ago, I explained how I didn't ever say they were going to win, and I knew they weren't going to win, and I even picked them in my brackets not to win, but I gave them a game. Well, they'll win one game. That's it. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of pissed. I wish they would be in the lottery. So back to wagering, though. But I mean, so the rise is here. It's becoming big, huge. Everyone is jumping in the industry on everything about sports wagering. There's more and more channels or websites like BetDSI and all these new ones coming up where everyone wants to try to get in the action, get in early, make money, you know. So the way that DFS, with all the FanDuel commercials and the DraftKings commercials you saw a few years ago, whereas every other commercial, it seemed like, was right in your face. I think that's going to be the future next year. The same type of thing is going to happen. Except it's going to be easier to wager on a game than to put in a DFS lineup. Which means it's going to get bigger. Now, if you haven't seen action on Showtime, you must watch it, especially if you're a sports fan. There's a few episodes. It's all about the up and coming of sports wagering across America. And up and coming, they have one episode on DFS, which it highlights a lot of the big DFS players and how they live their lives, which is so crazy. Because I'm a big DFS player, and I would never even think about ever doing some of the things that they're doing. But check it out. It's on Showtime. It's called Action. And it's pretty cool. So we're going to bring in a couple guys, and we're going to talk about sports wagering across America, the future of it, what they've seen, what I've seen. I have some questions for them as well. And feel free to comment in the comments and around Twitter, Periscope, and Facebook, and I'll try to answer any questions about it as well. And then after that, I have a little game that we're going to play about Tiger Woods. So, without further ado, Josh Danhill and Anthony Zaragoza. What's up, guys?
Playoffs? We're talking playoffs?
Yes, I guess we got to talk playoffs eventually, huh?
Yeah, I heard you talking about it, and I wanted to butt in like 10 minutes ago, so that reference isn't that funny, but it was like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. You know, do you have the Warriors game on? I have the Warriors game on in the background. It looks like
I have it on mute, yeah, and it's pretty much kind of what I expected.
Well, it's 20, which means the spread is only down 7. So there's hope for that.
There's that betting. See, that's the bettor's mentality right there.
Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about, because that's what I want to. I mean, I think that's what's becoming big right now. Josh, you with us?
I am with you.
All right. Sorry to hear my thoughts on the Red Sox, but you have to agree with me. If they don't start hitting, they're done.
They do. There's a lot of things they need to do, but it looks like some of them are getting pissed off enough to start really wanting to see an improvement, and I think things are going to start shaking up pretty soon over there.
Good, because if they don't, they're done. If they don't hit, they're done, because their bullpen's not going to keep runs.
And bullpen, too. They need to change some stuff in the bullpen.
Oh, yeah. We all knew that from the beginning of the year. The bullpen was going to be terrible, but we thought that they would score enough runs where it wouldn't matter. Well, guess what? They're not, so it matters. That's what's been their major Achilles heel as well. Like today's game was a perfect example.
But still better record than the Rockies.
Well, for now, the Rockies are up on the Padres right now.
But still will have a better record after the game.
Okay, there you go.
Well, there's hope for there then.
There's hope for them.
Congratulations, Josh. Yes.
Did you guys watch the Tiger Woods, what people are calling redemption, yesterday?
You know what? It's funny. You know, I'm gonna say I jumped on it. I saw the early start time because I was watching round 3 and I knew it was gonna start early. So I got up like 6 o'clock. I didn't crack open a beer because it was too early for Sunday. But you can definitely sense the energy when Tiger's in the running on a final day on a major. It's just different, and it was super electric. I think it's good for the game. It's good for Tiger because of, like you said, self-inflicted wounds. But when you see him playing, you see that moment with him and his kids, his mom at the end when he wins. Like, you can tell that the guy that, regardless of what was going on, it meant a lot to him on Sunday, so that was kind of good to see those emotions out on a major.
Yeah, but you have to agree a little bit, though, that all the stuff that happened to him was self-imposed.
Without a doubt.
No, yeah, it definitely is. Without a doubt, everything that happened obviously is because of what he did. His marriage, all that was all on him. But in sports, especially in sports, when you can play and you're this mogul, Nike, all that money to make him the face of Nike Golf, the back injuries, all of that, all this so-called adversity, the time lapse from his last major to now. A lot of times people were talking about he would never be competing in golf ever again. And to show up with, after day 2 of the Masters, you had the who's who in that top 15, 20. You had Adam Scott. You had, just a bunch of guys that were in the mist. Justin Johnson, who's battled his own, demons. You had a lot of big names that were in it. And Tiger just kind of, chugging along. And that final day after, 13, it just seemed like it was destiny for him to win it. And when he did, you just saw that emotions out. And like you said, it was hard not to get emotional when that happened.
I got a little emotional as well. Of course, I was coming off the high off the Liverpool win against Chelsea too, so that had a lot to do with it. But yeah, and then I realized at the end of it, I was like, wait a minute though, what? But he did this to himself. Like that would be like if Ray Rice came back and won a Super Bowl MVP trophy. Like,
hey, there's hope for there.
Yeah, it's like, but he did all this to himself. Like he could have gotten help. He could have not done that. He could have not done half the stuff he did. But if he didn't, if none of the stuff that happened to him didn't, then it wouldn't be as big as a story. It would just be like, oh, congratulations, you did it again. Yeah.
You know what? It's the old adage, time heals all, because such a big gap of time lapsed since that whole incident. And now people kind of forget we're in a day and age where, news from yesterday is just forgotten. It's, there's nothing like fresh news with Twitter, social media.
Yeah, definitely.
So people forgot what was going on with Tiger. Like you said, people were talking about him on the telecast like he was some like guy that was just dug himself out of the grave. He made it out of all that adversity. But it's like, dude, he was the one banging chicks in Vegas. Like, don't forget
4 at a time.
What was doing.
Yeah.
Before just running him through, at an Applebee's getting the, dollar margarita.
I'm surprised he only has 2 kids.
Oh.
Surprised there wasn't like a litter of them running out there going, "Hey, congratulations, Dad!" All different flavors.
Right, like Philip Rivers, just on his 10th kid.
Exactly. Jesus. You guys watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
dude.
How is Braun getting around Winterfell in his wheelchair?
Dude, I don't know if they had, handicap accessible features.
They did not
there in Westeros. So,
yeah. And there's not snow tires on that thing either.
It's because he's third eye.
He doesn't have chains.
No, he does not have chains. No. That stare down though, it's like you don't touch my sister, bro. The Professor X to Westeros. Yes, it was good times. Good times. A good setup episode. I like how they made it match the first episode of the whole shebang as well. And we talked about the Red Sox, the Blue Jackets, of course. You guys following NHL? I'm not sure I am. I've been huge on the wagering of it, and I've lost 3 games on wagering because I've had surely Tampa Bay won't lose again. Wrong. Surely Tampa Bay won't lose again. Wrong. 3 games they're losing to the Blue Jackets of Columbus, the best team in hockey, losing to the 8th seed of a terrible division. So, is this as exciting that no one's talking about as when the Warriors beat the Dallas Mavericks 8-1?
Oh man, I don't know. It's like from what I keep reading about hockey and outside of your sports wagering and this little bit that I get on Twitter, it happens a lot. It happens a lot in hockey. And when you have 4-game series or 7-game series every round for forever, things like that happen all the time. But yeah, I don't think just because of notoriety, hockey just does not have that. I don't know that connection with the youth. They try to do it with Crosby. When he came into the league, and it
Ovechkin
picked up
too when he
some
was young.
steam.
Yep.
Alex Ovechkin, because he's in the national, the capital of the country. But it's just,
Johnny
I
Hawk.
don't know, man. I'm not doing a lot of skating in California.
I'm sure there's a joke there somewhere that I'm not going to talk about, but
No, Edward,
but
come on.
but we got to admit though, the best team, the best record in hockey all year, a favorite to win the Stanley Cup, and going down to a team that you're supposed to dominate. It should be an exciting story, and it should be one talked about as much as the Warriors when they beat Dallas, but no one really is. I mean, I've heard a couple of ramblings about it, but nothing as big as they should be.
Exactly. Yeah. It sucks because, like you said, and especially in a game like hockey, which I think when you look at all the 4 professional sports, not only do you have to, move with your hands, but you're skating at the same time. That's probably one of the toughest sports to play in all of sports. And when you add in the physical aspect of it, like, it doesn't get enough credit for what it does. So for you to be that bad during the regular season and then you're up like sweep the best record in hockey, that's saying something. So yeah, it kind of sucks it's not getting as much notoriety as the other sports would have had.
Yeah. So I'm following it. I'll be watching it tomorrow night to see what happens. I'm very interested in it as well. Okay, let's move on to our panel discussion tonight. By the way, we have Josh Stanhill here. It's at J Stanhill on Twitter, and Anthony Zaragoza is at Zaragoza Anthony. Both write for Interest Sports, as well as Anthony. You write for Dynasty. What's it?
Dynasty Football Factory.
Dynasty Football Factory as well. And then Josh, of course, is the lead of MLB on Interest Sports. So we're going to talk about sports wagering. I know myself, I've been getting into it more as it rises. I like to be on top of trends of what's going on. Josh, I know you've been sports wagering for a while, a few years now. I know you have trips to Vegas where you do parlays, and you've been very successful. I know you and I had a very successful parlay once that involved Oklahoma and Fresno State. That was
yes.
quite a fun day that we had there.
Yes, it was.
I'm not a big parlay guy myself. I don't like to do it. I like to go quantity as one-on-one and just try to win the majority of them, and I always go in odd numbers. So we're going to talk about some strategies and talk about where you think it's going to go and ultimately, what we think. So I'm going to ask you guys each questions, and then I'll answer them myself when I'm done here about what you guys think the future of wagering, and if you think it's ever going to rise above and beat fantasy sports, or what it's going to do to the game itself. I know, Anthony, you are a Raiders fan, and the Raiders moving to Vegas, if that's going to have any type of influence on it as well. So, Anthony, I'm going to ask you this. Being a Raiders fan and going to Vegas, of course, you won't be able to bet on the Raiders during home games in Vegas when that happens. So, do you see yourself in the state? I know you're a big fantasy player. How much money do you think you'll bet in 2020, next year, on sports?
It's probably I want to say, outside of playing fantasy sports, probably that's the extreme of my betting, just because it's not legal, before the whole last year rulings. But it's going to go up increasingly. I don't have a percentage on it exactly, but I just know, especially now with the popularity of DFS, like you said, I know the big thing with the AFL was that whole live tracking. They were able to track players live with their stats, the movement, and I
rest in peace, by the way.
That's going to kind of RIP, which it had a lot of it had a lot of excitement early on, but you kind of see the how it worked out with that was kind of the key thing with it. There was almost like a test run to see how it would work. But with the more live stats, the more live tracking, I just feel like there's going to be a jump. If you're a player, and you kind of mentioned with fantasy, sports, what's the bigger satisfaction with, doing all that work all season, for 14, 15 weeks, like in fantasy football or in basketball and baseball, whatever, roto, versus doing DFS and now possibly doing like in-game betting. I think people are going to want that immediate satisfaction. So I think this is going to be a big change, from state to state, especially when they start, allowing mobile betting, doing it, on your computer at your home versus going into casino. So once that kind of starts to transition in, I think you're going to see a lot of that movement towards that thing. So it's going to be big. I'm going to start doing it. I've done a lot more best ball drafts. I've done a lot of DFS lately just because, you get your results quicker. And in a world that right now that we're living in, you want results now versus waiting the whole season. So I think it's going to be a big change coming up.
Especially with the rise of in-game betting, like to a point where if you go to Bovada during a football game, you could bet on the next play. $1,
Exactly.
it's going to be a rush. $1, it's going to be a pass. Plus 900, it's going to be a touchdown. That is crazy. And that's, I think, what the future is going to be, especially, all the app technology we have now and everything like that. Josh, my question to you is, we're talking about football and baseball, everything. What sports do you think, in general, do you think sports gambling or sports wagering could benefit other sports that aren't as popular? For example, we've been talking about hockey or soccer. How do you think sports gambling will make those unpopular sports more popular in the next year?
I think that, it kind of goes within what Anthony was saying, that, and you were just saying the instant satisfaction, knowing that you were started to getting it from these major sports. If you don't have that, you'll go to something else to get that satisfaction from those sports. An NHL, a college team, whatever it might be, if it's softball, if it's college baseball, whatever it might be, they're going to do it. And it's going to and it's going to really hit home, and you'll start seeing those smaller things become more and more popular as time goes.
And that's exactly what I wanted you to say, and I knew you would, because you're a smart enough guy like us to know that, hey, the sports wagering ultimately is going to benefit other sports. Soccer, for example, is going to get bigger in America than it already is. It's already growing. Now it's going to get bigger. Why? Because you could bet on the Premier League at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's nothing else going on at 7 o'clock in the morning, so people are going to watch it. It's going to make ratings higher because you're going to be watching it because you got money on it. It's just, I think ultimately it's a good thing for other sports that aren't baseball, football, and basketball in America, which is great because I like other sports as well. I love soccer. If everyone that doesn't know, I'm a huge Premier League guy, huge MLS guy. Josh comes over to my house to watch the MLS championship last year. He had no idea who the teams were, but it was fun. We had a good time. And it's just like, I just love that stuff. So this is going to make it, everyone who watched this show I think it's ultimately going to make it better for all these other sports. Be like, hey, maybe I'll give soccer a try. Maybe I'll watch it. Realize how dramatic and fun it is. Maybe I'll watch hockey tonight. There's nothing else on. Or maybe I'll watch women's softball or WNBA or anything that, women's sports. This could be good for women's sports too. A lot of people talk bad on women's sports. I don't. I watched the NCAA women's tournament because I'm a huge Oregon fan. I loved it. It was exciting. It was awesome. Maybe this helps them as well. Get their hand in the game. And that's something I wanted to talk about too. It could help everything around. So, with that being said, Anthony, are you one of those superstitious? Now we're going to like some superstition stuff. You're a Raiders fan. You're an A's fan. Would you ever, if you knew that money in the bag, this team's going to beat the Raiders by the spread, are you the type of guy that would be like, screw it, or do you just stay away from your teams and not bet on your teams at all, or against them? Just stay away from that game completely.
Yeah, Edward, me. I kind of go with all, my heart doing our fantasy drafts. I don't select certain players from certain teams, and you always laugh at me saying, Anthony, you're pretty much handicapped yourself.
Anthony!
Exactly. You're just putting yourself in a position where you're not going to win when you eliminate certain players because of who they play with. I know that going into it. So betting-wise, I'm the same way. I'm so emotional. I get so riled up when I'm watching my teams play. So me personally, it's gonna be hard for me to bet on my teams just because I don't want to add that extra stress on it. But I know the majority, the guys that are smart, I'm a bonehead. I get a couple beers in my system and I want to do it. The majority of the people, they're gonna start doing it. And me, I'm just gonna be like, I don't want to bet against Derek Carr. I can't do it. I love him too much. That's my boy. I'm not gonna do it. Don't make me.
Well, a perfect example is me tonight. Is I actually bet on Colorado plus 147. They're currently 5-2 over the Padres in the ninth. So I won the bet.
Oh, forgot question. While you were talking also on betting, what was the spread tonight on the Clippers game?
Plus 13.5.
And where did you go? Where did you go?
I did Clippers.
And just so you know, it's a 12-point game right now.
I could see it, and I'm happy. So see, and I'm a Clippers fan, but I went for the Clippers. But I went against the Padres because I did the research, and the research told me that it's just you got to go against the public. Vegas knows what they're doing. You got to go this way. And I look at it like this: as I went, okay, if the Padres win, I'm happy. Who cares about the $2 I threw on the game? If they lose, hey, at least I won $3 back on my $2. Boom. So that's another way to look at it as well. You could look at it like, okay, I'm going to put money down on the other team against my team, and no matter what, I come up with a happy ending here. No massage included.
Happy ending.
Yeah. If you can see Anthony right now, he's mean mugging you.
Yeah, I bet he is. Yeah.
No, but because with Edward, there's a reason why Edward has like quadrupled the amount of followers he's had in Twitter the last couple of months. He's making the picks. People are winning money. He's winning money because of it. So at the end of the day, someone like you do the research, you do all that stuff behind it. Yeah, that's my team. There's not a bigger sports fan that I know than you, Edward. So when you make a bet, you're making it. You take your Padres hat off, you take your Chargers helmet off, and you go strictly stats. You do strictly research. You do go with all what you need to do. So I get that. I just can't do that. I can't compartmentalize. I can't separate both of them. I'm just too emotional, man. You know that.
Yeah, I know. I'm the same way too. But like I said, tonight was a win-win. If the Padres won, I would have been happy because they would have still had the best record in the NL. Now they're probably not. And the Dodgers did just tie up the Reds right now. But the Reds just took the lead actually in the ninth. So now it's 3-2 Reds in the ninth. So maybe the Padres will still be up 2 games at the end of the day. And I won money. So there you go. Boom, boom. We all win tonight. It's a winning Monday. And right now, it's a 16-point lead now for the Golden State Warriors. But hey, the Clippers have a chance to beat the spread and make me happy as well. Josh, real quick, one more thing about sports gambling or sports wagering, as I like to call it. Do you think this ultimately hurts the fantasy sports community or helps the fantasy sports community?
Are you talking about for FanDuel and DraftKings?
Yeah.
It's going to hurt them.
Mm-hmm. And how so?
And this is why. It's because it's not going to be as instantaneous, and people are going to select on certain games instead of playing it, knowing that it's going to be players, and they got to wait all day or whatever it might be. It's going to actually be certain games they can only pay attention to, and the outcome or the benefit is more into the person who's wagering than hoping that the lineup that they picked is perfect now, since those experts are now it's become more of an expert kind of a thing for fantasy.
You are correct. Yep.
And I think that if you do your research and kind of have an idea of how wagering is going, and if you do plus, like we'll say if in baseball, it's a normal team is a 1.5 favorite. That if you go with the underdog 4 out of 7 times, I bet 4 of those. I'm saying 4 out of 7 times is going to win if you bet on each of those games. So I think it's going to really affect them in the long run.
Yeah, you got to do your research. And a lot of people who don't want to do their research, it's easier to do, just throw a wager down real quick. But here's the thing about the wagers, though, is you're going to lose more times than none because you actually got to do the research there. For example, basketball. Before I chose my 2 picks tonight, I looked at who the referees were. their websites you could go to that will tell you the percentage of fouls they give away, home and away, by referee. That's right. There's things you could look up that will tell you, well, this ref in that game earlier was literally 54% more fouls called for the home team than the away team, and that was earlier in the Philadelphia game. So I did my research, went with that, of course, also based upon Philadelphia's home record against the spread and everything, and that's why I said I said Philadelphia's going to run out of the table of this one, and they crushed. So I mean, there's things you got to look at. I did the same thing with refs in college basketball. There's things you got to look at that are behind, just like you would do the research to do your DFS lineups. You have to do with wagering too, and people just, there's and here's the bad side of it. The bad side of it is a lot of people are going to go in debt. A lot of people are gonna be, in a lot of trouble because of it, because they're not doing the research. They just think, hey, 2.5, this team has it. Vegas doesn't know what they're doing. 2.5, this team's been good all year. They're gonna play the 2.5 and they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose, and they're gonna be, I'll get it back tomorrow. They're gonna try tomorrow. They're gonna lose, and try and try and try. I've had friends in the past that have done this to themselves already. That, and they don't put the time and effort into actually being. I'm not saying being successful. I'm not saying make a living of it. I don't make a living of it. I'm successful in a point where I'm not losing money, but I'm also not making a ton of money. I'm having fun while doing it, and that's something what people need to realize. I have fun playing fantasy sports. I love playing fantasy sports. I love DFS. I love FanDuel. I love DraftKings. I love doing it, and now I love wagering. But I'm not trying to quit my job, quit all this, and just do that full time, because I know that's unrealistic. I just love doing it. And ultimately, I think you guys agree with that statement as well. That's how it should be, and nothing more than that.
If you're not doing it for satisfaction or to have a little bit of, I mean, you can, like you said, you can't live off of it, but it's one of those things where it's something that you should appreciate.
Yes, do it. Have fun doing it. Enjoy this. If you say, hey, tonight I don't have the kids, I want to watch this baseball game, you know what? I'm going to throw some money on it. Have fun doing it, and don't expect that that's how you're going to make money the rest of your life. Just have fun. Crack open a beer. Make yourself a steak. Watch the Yankees. Enjoy the game. If they win, you win a little extra $20 there, here or there. That's what it should be all about. And I hope that's what all the states, as they regulate it and everything that happens, I really do hope that that's ultimately what happens, and it doesn't become to a point where there's always people complaining, and the nation that we live in, which is a negative energy nation, look on Twitter every day, is going to say, well, so-and-so, Billy Bob Bob lost all of his money and lost his wife and lost his kids because he bet on the Yankees every day for a week, That's not what I want to see. I want to see the positives of it, like we just mentioned, the enjoyable moments of it, and not the negatives, which in a country where we have the ability to be so negative on any given minute on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook. So thank you guys so much for that. I know you guys are all for it, and I know we've already had fun doing it. I know Anthony and I and Josh, you and I, we always bet on other things that I'm gonna wear a clown outfit or eat mayonnaise or whatever, and it's just another.
By the way, I thought about the Dodger bet.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You're gonna come in, and I want you to wear the nurse thing, but with a Joker face.
Oh, the scene from the movie.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. You guys got to come up with some more. Two or three more, and put them out there.
I'm waiting
for
the
poll.
Put them out there. We got plenty of time left. Let's have it done before the All-Star break, guys. Let's do that. But real quick though, before we go,
that way you have enough time to get the face paint and the outfit and everything.
I do want Bane as well, just because I know how much your wife appreciates the Bane mask.
She hates my Bane voice. It's terrible. I have the worst Bane voice.
I want to hear it.
This is my city.
Holy Lord.
I will find you, Bruce. That's my Bane voice. It's beautiful. It sounds just like him.
Can
Tom
I-
Hardy
can-
in the
please-
flesh. Just right here. Boom.
Can you do Bane if the Dodgers win?
Dodgers are losing right
Who's
now.
gonna do Bane?
Edward.
Dodgers
does
are
Bane.
losing right now.
If Dodgers win the NL West, he's got to dress up as Bane.
Padres have lost officially.
Man, whatever the case may be, Edward's not gonna win this bet. It's just what it comes down to. When it comes to the Dodgers, certain things there's kryptonite. Edward has
The
kryptonite
Dodgers are
when
my
it comes to the
kryptonite.
Dodgers. They are.
I
You
love
can't
it.
fight him, man. No numbers, no statistics.
Do you know?
no
Do you know
nothing
what
like
the
that.
Dodgers'
You can fight him.
kryptonite is? Winning a World Series.
Ooh. And that's true. There it is. It all makes sense.
It's funny. It's all fun and games. Real quick, guys. I want to. Speaking of fun and games, I want to do one more thing before we call tonight, and a new game I like to call "What Has Happened Since."
Let's get it on.
Oh, that's right. It's a game where when things happen that, like Tiger Woods winning the Masters, we have to look back and say, what has happened since the last time this man did anything? So Tiger Woods, of course, won the Masters over the weekend. We've already talked about it all show long. And the last time he won the Masters was 2005. Guys, let me ask you, who was the president the last time that Tiger Woods won the Masters?
The Bushman.
Yep.
That is correct. So Barack Obama never got the pleasure of being a president and seeing Tiger Woods win a major tournament. Let me ask you guys, what was the #1 movie in America at the time when last time that Tiger Woods won the Masters?
The Dark Knight.
I'm gonna say one of the Fast and Furious movies.
The #1 movie in America at the time, not for the year, was Sahara, starring Matthew McConaughey.
Wow.
At least I was good on the year.
How old was Rory McIlroy the last time that Tiger Woods won the Masters?
I'm gonna say -4.
No.
I'm 13.
He was 15. Yes. And Destiny's Child was still a band. Also, last time Tiger has won the Masters, flip phones were still in going strong, and the
LeBron
iPhone
James was in
was
high
not,
school.
and the iPhone would be invented 2 years after the fact.
Wow. That's nuts, dude. Seriously, the iPhone wasn't even invented yet?
No.
That's correct. The iPhone came out in 2007, and also Lionel Messi have not even scored his first goal with Barcelona.
Dude, that's nuts. That is flipping nuts.
Mm-hmm. On an either crazier note, the last time that Tiger Woods won the Master was just happened to be the last time that LeBron James did not make the playoffs.
I love how you just bring it all in. You bring it all in.
All right, guys, two more.
Tiger
2005, who won the World Series the last time he won the Masters? Don't look it up. Real quick guess. Let's go.
The Yankees.
Josh?
No, it wasn't the Yankees. I'm going to go with this 2005. I am going with No, I don't know.
The Chicago White Sox with manager Ozzie Guillen sweeping the Houston Astros with Jermaine Dye being the MVP. That's right, the Chicago White Sox. All right, guys, 2005 NBA Finals. Who won?
Spurs.
That is correct. The Spurs beating the Pistons 4-3 in Greg Popovich's first NBA championship with, of course, the Twin Towers and Tim Duncan.
And the Admiral.
That's correct. So, who was the other one? Tim Duncan and what's his name? I can't think of his name.
David Robinson.
David Robinson, that's right.
Hey, here's a quick question for you guys. What were you doing 2005 in April?
Getting ready to graduate high school.
I was watching sports
That's it?
in college. I was working at Barnes & Noble booksellers. I was probably at work.
Barnes & Noble.
That's right. I worked in the music section. Damn straight. Okay, guys, who won the Super Bowl in 2005?
New York Giants.
The Saints.
No, the New England Patriots.
Oh, of course.
They
I
beat
should've
they
just-
beat the Philadelphia Eagles and Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb.
Wow.
That is correct. The MVP, of course, on that game, Dion Branch. So you go. That was What Has Happened Since. I need to come up with a better plug for that. But a lot of stuff has happened. So congratulations again, Tiger Woods. It's been fun. Guys, that's the show. What an hour it's been. Got a lot accomplished. Talked about sports wagering, what we think the future is going to be. We think the future's bright. We just don't want to see it turn negative. Tiger Woods, congratulations. Game of Thrones, going strong. Baseball. And, of course, next week, guys, I know both of you guys are going to be putting in your first round mock draft for the NFL draft, which happens next Thursday, correct?
Correct.
Oh, you know it.
So
I'm so pumped.
And that's going to be live on the IntrustWeSports.com website. Of course, Intrust We Sports, guys, they told me to announce tonight, if you're watching, they are looking for amateur writers. So if you want to write about sports, you want to gather a portfolio, you're in college, or what you're doing, you could direct message Anthony Zaragoza at Zaragoza Anthony, or Josh Stanhill at J Stanhill, or even me, and I'll forward the message along. Go ahead and put in your applications, or just send a message and say, hey, I want to write. I want to get my portfolio out there. I want to write about football, baseball, hockey, soccer, anything. And we want to build a good foundation there at Intrust We Sports. I know you guys do, and try to get some up and coming writers who can help build something, and just try to help everyone out in a community that needs less prima donnas and more people who actually care about what they're doing in their lives. So that being said, guys, thank you guys so much for joining. Anthony, do you have any plugs?
I just can't wait for the draft. I cannot wait for the draft.
Because the Raiders had like 5 picks or something?
Yeah,
first round?
we have 17 picks in the first round, and I'm excited for all of them.
Wait for the draft, Anthony?
What?
Bill Belichick can't wait for the draft.
It's a good thing the Raiders don't have a history of screwing up their draft picks.
Oh, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
I remember one year they drafted someone in the second round, and on ESPN, Mel Kiper literally said, "I don't even have tape on this guy. I don't know who he is." True story. And I don't even know who that is now. But anyway, so that's at Zaragoza Anthony on Twitter.
Hey Zaragoza Anthony. Hey, how's that Jamarcus Russell pick?
Sipping on some scissor.
Let it go. It's a new regime, okay? It's a new regime.
Antonio Brown looks like a saint. Josh Stanhill at J Stanhill, of course, on Twitter. You have anything coming out? Any articles and stuff you be writing, or what's going on? You have any plugs?
Absolutely, we're gonna hit it up with the injury list that's coming. That has hurt every single team that's out there, and how you can pick up and which players to impact your team and which ones to move on. Beautiful.
Love it, guys. That's IntrustWeSports.com. You can find both these guys there as well. And then, of course, they're going to stream. They also stream this show on there as well. So thank you guys so much. We'll see, next Monday we'll be talking about the draft. Thank you guys so much for listening, for enjoying the show and everything. And excited about the baby coming soon. Really excited about life and everything. So until next Monday, we have the draft show. I'm so excited. See what the Chargers are going to do there. Probably go offensive line or something, or do something. So with that being said, we'll see you guys next Monday. Enjoy the playoffs on both hockey and basketball. Enjoy baseball, guys. Enjoy this type of year where we have all the sports just laid out for us like a buffet of just wonderfulness every night of the week, all the way through the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals. With that being said, we'll see you next Monday. And always remember to spay and neuter your pets.